Good morning. My name is Jacob Narron, or Mr. Narron to all of you. It's nice to meet some of you, even though I can't see you, you can see me. I've been teaching at Inca. This is my fifth year here, but not the fifth year teaching. It's been a while. I'm teaching physics and chemistry, both at the honors and standard levels. Also, next year we're looking to have AP Chem and AP Physics. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can see some information about that on the board next to me, hopefully. But if you have questions about that, we have a meeting, I believe, next Thursday during Smart Period. So if you have interest in that, let me know. I'm very sorry I can't be there. I'm out because of reasons, but I'll be there as soon as I can. I already know some of you. I was looking through the roster and I recognize a lot of names. Maybe I don't necessarily recognize the faces, so that means I probably had you during the remote learning period, but I'm still excited to get to know some of you in person. Speaking of remote learning, right now we're still going to be in person and I'll be joining you soon. But one thing I want to hit right off the bat is that it is my expectation that as long as Buncombe County Schools says so, you need to wear your mask properly. I know I don't have mine on right now, so you got to look at all of this. But when we're in person, okay, your mask needs to be in the proper location. That means up over your nose. If it's not covering your nose, it's really not doing anything. And what's the point? So I am going to be that teacher. So go ahead and get that in your mind already. Okay. So anyway, I'm excited to get to know you guys soon once I can be in the room. Hopefully you can hear me okay, and if not, that can hopefully be adjusted. All right, let's talk about OneNote real quick. Okay, so you guys are going to use OneNote 99% of the time in this class. I can't think of many situations where we'd be using Google Classroom instead. So OneNote is the main product that I use. It's a Microsoft product. Those of you that have had me before know already how to use it. So you guys are going to be the experts. You're going to have to help your classmates that have never used this before and help them see, all right, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. And if not, it's pretty easy to use, and I'll teach you guys more about that in a moment. For now, let me go ahead and tell you how to access OneNote. It's a lot simpler now, thanks to Miss Fair across the hall. She found a much easier way that's just been introduced in the last couple of months to get there. So here's what you're going to do. Okay, already you should have your laptops with you. You should have your chargers with you. If your laptop is dead, make arrangements so that you have that plugged in. There are 2 surge protectors in the room, commercial grade, fire safe, apparently. Surge protectors. We have a yellow one and then a tan one. You can get those plugged in. You can make arrangements, but everybody should have their device with them every single day because we'll be using them in this class. So go ahead and get that ready, get it booted up. And once you get in OneNote or to your desktop and you sign in, there is an app that is called Microsoft Teams. Okay, so the app is called Microsoft Teams. So you need to open that up. Once you do that, okay, literally all you're going to do is there is a tab within the Teams application. So it's a Windows application. You click the Windows button, type in Teams, it'll appear. But once you open that application, there is a tab that is called Class Notebook. Okay, so you want to find that class notebook. I've already made one for everyone that was in my roster as of last Friday. And so once you open up that, there's a button that says Open in Desktop App. Okay, and the app is called OneNote for Windows 10, not OneNote 2016. OneNote for Windows 10. Okay, so let me go over these instructions again. Step 1, turn on laptop. Step 2, sign in. Step 3, once you're on the desktop, you need to find an application called Microsoft Teams, and then from there, go to the Class Notebook tab within the application, and then you're going to open in Desktop App. Okay, it's a button that's on there. Help each other. Okay, I'm sure someone's going to get it, and once one person gets it, everybody's going to find it. But that's the easiest way to do it. The app that we want to be using, okay, from here on, is going to be the OneNote for Windows 10 app. So it's going to look a little like this. Okay, so as you can see, this is called OneNote for Windows 10. You can right-click it and click Pin to Taskbar. That's something I recommend, and it's going to take it a second. Okay, it's going to take it a second to open up, and just let it do its thing. All right, just let it do its thing. It'll populate, and you'll see certain information on the screen. At this point, what I would recommend is maybe pause this video and give you all a chance to get to this point. Okay, signing into OneNote and making sure that everything loads properly. Okay, so go ahead and pause it now. Resume when everybody's ready. And so after you've done that, all right, let's keep rolling. So let me tell you guys a little bit about OneNote, okay, specifically how OneNote's going to work for our class. So I obviously have everyone in my first period. And by the way, I am going to be working out of chemistry first period. So if you're watching this in second period and third period, don't worry, you'll be okay. You have basically the same stuff, all right? So there are two folders. As you can see, each of you have a folder that has your name on it. We're going to call that your folder. That's how I'm going to refer to it. I'm going to say, all right, it's your folder. So we got the Narron folder. As you can see, I've got lesson plans in there. Here's the first day lesson plans that are, I don't know, more or less we're going to ignore because I'm not there, and we may or may not be on a delay schedule right now. I don't know. I'm speaking from the past. I can't see into the future. But anyway, so we have the Narron folder, and then we have a folder that's specific to you. That's your folder. So understand this. The Narron folder has a lot of important stuff in it, okay? It has my notes in there. So you can go into the Narron folder and see. So let's see, for my first period, here's the first set of notes that we're going to take next week. There they are. So if you were absent, you could look and find them in here. I have copies of all the worksheets ahead of time, but don't worry. I'm going to automatically give you a copy of the worksheets when its time comes. So for instance, there's one worksheet you guys may start today. I've already given it to you. It's in your introduction folder. So oftentimes the student will say, Mr. Narron, I can't click on anything. I've got the worksheet. I can't click on anything. It's probably because you're in my folder. You can't write on my stuff. So I'll always ask you, double check, make sure you're in your folder. Okay. But as you can see, lesson plans, it's going to be a very, very important tab for us, okay? Especially if you're absent. But every day, if you want to, because I post them usually the day before. But you can go in and see kind of what the plan's going to be. I type a little introduction up here. I go through some more detail down here. And then oftentimes, when we're taking notes, I'll do them down below. So lesson plans in the Narron folder. Very good place to go. And then as you can see, we got a little introduction folder. We're going to come back to the parent letter in a moment. We've got a vocab folder for chemistry students. We'll talk more about that another time. But then, yeah, every unit that we go through, here's all the information you can find. So you want notes on atoms? Okay, there they are. You want notes on average atomic mass? There they are. Okay, so you will have access to that. But in your folder is where you can actually write on things. So how do you do work in OneNote? Let me go through this quickly. You have multiple options when you're doing work for this class. The reason I use OneNote instead of Google Classroom is because you're in a math-based science. Whether it's chemistry or physics, you're going to need to do a little bit of math. In chemistry especially, I mean, even right here on this equation right here, look, we've got these subscripts in this equation. So F1, M1, that's a pain to try and type in, okay? And so instead what we're going to have is you'll be able to write. So option one, when you are in the classroom, and hear me when I say that, when you're in the classroom, you'll have access to a stylus. They're numbered 1 to 30, which is just enough because I have 30 students in my third period. But you can use that while in the classroom. We're not going to check it out and take it home. They were very expensive. So a stylus is an option. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Another option, whenever you're working on something, okay? So maybe you're working on this right here. You can click and type. So see, I just double-clicked, and then when there, I can type. I can type my answers. You can move the little box around, put it where you want it, but that's an option, okay? I usually want you to pick a different color other than black, just because typing with black font on a typed page is really hard to see, but that's an option. So stylus is one option. Click and type, that's another option. And then the third option is going to be to insert picture. And when you go to insert picture, you can either go from file, so maybe you sent yourself a picture, maybe you took a picture and you sent it to yourself, or from camera. That's another good option, and I think several of you are going to like that. So you can actually use your laptop camera, okay? And it'll boot up, and then you hold the page up and it inserts it in there. Now here's the thing. we have we've had several issues with these new Dell laptops. One of them is that the cameras are not very good, and it's really hard for me to read your stuff. So what I recommend is that if you prefer to do a lot of writing in your notebook and then just inserting your solutions into, a worksheet or something like that, that's fine. But I recommend you get the OneNote app for your phone. So you can actually get your cell phone and get the OneNote app. It's very easy to use. And your information, if you want to know like what your information is when you sign in, you can go right there. You can click on the top right of OneNote and it says, look, there's your information. And so yours will be your student number at k12bcs.net. And then your password for the OneNote app is going to be the same password you use to sign into your student computer. So again, student number at k12bcs.net, and then you can sign in using the same password to get your computer. And a lot of students have a lot of good results using their cell phone camera instead, and it's very easy to use. You'll learn. Okay, so 3 ways to do work in OneNote that are going to be really, really useful because we're in a math class. Okay, I know it's science, but it's also a math class, so being able to write things down is very useful. All right, I got to get a move on. So hopefully by now you're in OneNote. You've got it pinned to your taskbar. You don't have to go through Teams to get the OneNote. I recommend just using the OneNote for Windows 10 app. And again, I've already told you how to get there. We've talked about how we have the Narron folder, which has all of my copies. Think about it as the big folder that I have that has all the important stuff in it. But then you have your folder, and your folder is where you're going to do work. So in the general folder, you're going to have bell work. Okay, that's something that will probably start when I return. We'll talk about bell work. You're going to have all these worksheets. So for instance, one worksheet that I've already given you, rules and procedures, it's in your introduction folder. And that's the one where you can click and type and do everything that you need to do. Now you might say, well, Mr. Narron, in OneNote, is there a submit button? No, there is not. Okay, it automatically saves everything that you do. So you don't have to click a save button. You don't have to click a submit button. However, Ms. Fair and I are working on some Microsoft Teams things where it will be more of an assignment and less of just a page. But my procedure has basically been, and if you're falling asleep, now it's time to wake up. My procedure has been that if you complete something late, you need to email me because it's not going to give me a notification. It'll save automatically, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. All right, so for now, let's all look at the parent letter together. So if you want to scroll with me, so maybe you can read a little bit better, go to my folder, go to the Narron folder, see right here, introduction, and let's look at the parent letter together. Now, I am going to be looking at the chemistry parent letter, but physics students, when you're watching this, just know it's basically the same thing. Okay, there are a couple of things changed, but my rules and procedures are the same throughout. Okay, all right, let's get to it. So welcome to chemistry or physics. My name is Mr. Narron. I graduated from App State. And I got a degree in secondary science with a concentration in physics. So I'm a physics teacher. I'm a physics guy. I even teach chemistry from a physics perspective. But don't worry, you'll be fine. So yeah, in my classroom, I primarily use a program called OneNote. It's a digital notebook. All right. I think that it's easier to use than Google Classroom for the type of work that we're going to do. OneNote benefits greatly from a stylus, but it is not necessary. And I already talked about the OneNote app. Really useful to have. Okay. Students had a lot of success with that when we were working remotely last year. Remember, it is school policy that you have your laptop charged and or bring your charging cable every single day. All right, you've got to have your stuff. You do not want to have a situation where you come into class and say, oh, Mr. Narron, I left my laptop at home. I guess I can't do any work today. You're incorrect. All right, you're going to be held accountable. All right, so make sure you have your stuff. Also pertaining to the use of OneNote, I post everything we do every morning. Now hear me when I say this. This means that if you are absent, the expectation is that you students that are paying attention are responsible for any work that you missed. Okay. In extenuating circumstances, you can email me, and my email is right here, jacob.narron@bcsemail.org. But guys, it's the expectation you're going to make up that stuff. The worst thing you can do is be absent for 2-3 days and then come back and come to me and say, oh, what did I miss? I'm going to say, well, did you read the lesson plans? Because look, right here, Okay, we only have one here. I'll show you from last semester. So see, this is from last semester, so you can get an idea. So see, here was a day. All right, let's see, 8:21, 8:26 right here, 21. There's another day. It's not loading right now, but see, there's the notes that we took that day. So you can find stuff for. Of course, the images aren't loading when I need them to. Hilarious. It's because I loaded all this stuff on my personal computer this morning, and it's not done syncing yet. But as you can see, if you miss, okay, this is called first day because I knew we were going to have snow. Typically, this will be dated for whatever the date is going to be. But you can go back and look and say, all right, I missed, January the 20th, January the 21st, January the 22nd. Okay, go in here and look. And don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till you come back to school, okay? I understand that we get really, really sick sometimes, okay? I'm technically sick right now. Wink. I really am, and I'm not allowed to come to work. But I'm still doing work. It's my expectation that you still do work when you're out. Now, if you've been in a car accident, absolutely take a break. All right, we'll deal with it. If you are so sick that you can't get out of bed, we'll deal with it. But guys, if you're just waking up and you're like, oh, my stomach's just not feeling right. I've got a little bit of a headache. Okay, then you can do this stuff once you get some rest. That afternoon, start getting made up on some work. So if you miss notes, I've already showed you where notes can be found in the specific unit folder. They're also on the lesson plans for the day. So that's the expectation. More on that later. For my class, you need to have your laptop and charger. We already talked about it. Graphing calculator is nice. Or a TI-30 is actually what I use personally. I don't like graphing calculators as much. If you look in the back of the classroom right now, you'll see that I have several classroom calculators, but you can't take them home. So if you want to have a calculator, it's a good idea, but you don't have to. I know a lot of students really like to use Desmos. That's an option as well. But I don't know. I like to have something in my hands. I like to have a calculator. So in the room, you can use those in the back. But otherwise, you'll need one. You may not use your cell phone as a calculator. You're not going to do it. You need to have a writing utensil. Pencils are great for chemistry and for physics. I think pencils are great, but if you want to use a pen, that's fine. A book, a composition book, fine. Notebook, fine. I really like graph paper. In fact, you'll see that whenever I take notes, I'm always using graph paper in case I need to draw a graph or a table. So I really like those. I actually have composition books. Let's see, is that one of them? Yep, here's one. I have composition books that are fully graph paper. Here's one. So see, you can buy this. I think this was 97 cents or something like that. But that's what I really like. But you just need to have something to take notes in. You need to have a folder to keep track of any paperwork. We'll have very little paperwork because most of what we do is going to be in OneNote. But hey, it's nice to have. Some items that are not required. Okay, Clorox wipes and Kleenex, I'm good on. In this year, we have been well supported in terms of Clorox wipes and Kleenex boxes. However, Expo markers, whiteboard markers, that's always really nice. We like to do what's called whiteboarding. In fact, if you look underneath the smart boards right now, you'll see we have those medium, or I call them large whiteboards. We'll work in groups and we'll be writing on the whiteboard. So it's nice to have Expo markers. Okay. Student grades, and this is true for physics and chemistry, are right here. So it'll be 40% for tests, 30% for quizzes, and then 15% for homework, classwork, 15% for projects, labs. So yeah, that's what to expect. Chemistry students will have quizzes, two quizzes every unit. We got 7 units. Physics students will have quizzes as needed. That's how that's going to work. Okay, while I do use Smart Period, I am the teacher that's using Smart Period. Okay, you're not going to just sit in Smart Period and mess around. But I do use that. But I also get to school around 7, and I stay until at least 3:30. If you need to stay before or after school, or you want to come in before or after school, please let me know ahead of time. Don't just show up, because I may have a meeting, I may have a duty. So you need to communicate with me and say, Mr. Narron, during Smart Period, I have blah, blah, blah. I have this club. Well, typically you're going to do a test first. But if you need extra help, just talk to me, okay? All right, here we go. Classroom rules. Be respectful. Treat everyone the way you want to be treated, and that's teachers and students, okay? I mean, it's a golden rule for a reason. B, don't be obnoxious in class. I usually don't have this issue anymore now that I'm teaching upperclassmen. When I taught freshmen, you'd think everybody was a drummer because they love tapping on the desk. Don't be out of your seat when you're not supposed to. Yeah, just sit down. Okay, pay attention. If you need something, just talk to me. You need to sharpen your pencil? Yeah, go sharpen your pencil. But don't be just wandering around. Quiet when others are talking. I'm sure you all are doing a wonderful job. Hopefully, none of you are laying your heads down because you're bored because you've already done this today. But you need to sit up. Just be quiet. You're doing a great job, I'm sure. Raise your hand if you want to speak, or be sure others are able to talk during the discussion. All right. So yeah, just raise your hand. Don't interrupt me. That's really obnoxious. But just get my attention. E, don't use cell phones in class. Period. All right. Period. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, well, Miss Such and Such, she lets us have our laptops on her desk. I don't care. That's not who I am. Okay. The school rule is that cell phones need to be put all the way away. In fact, I think technically what a lot of principals want me to do is use a caddy. If you look over here, I think I'm pointing the right direction. If you look on the wall next to the meme wall, you'll see that there's holsters for cell phones. I sure would hate to have to use that. So if cell phones become an issue, sure, that's what we'll start doing. We'll be like, yep, you got to go put it in the cubby every day, everybody. Let's not do that. Usually, if I just tell students, have your cell phone and headphones put all the way away when the bell rings, usually we're okay. Now, typically when I catch students and they're on their phone, okay? Because the thing is, guys, you think you're sneaky when you're looking like this underneath your desk. You're not sneaky. But typically when I catch students, they say, oh, I was just texting. My mom was texting. Okay. If you have a parent that is trying to contact you, first off, I would say, hey, you shouldn't be texting in class. They should know that. But if you have a parent that's trying to contact you or it's a family emergency, you talk to me and say, respectfully, if I'm in the middle of saying something, maybe wait till I'm done saying something, be like, man, my mom keeps trying to call me. Can I see what's going on? That is okay. Otherwise, there are no excuses when I, talk to you about texting on your phone. If you need to charge your phone, we'll talk about that. I'm not worried about it right now. If you need to charge your phone, we'll deal with that, but I don't think you need to. All right, F. Appropriately, item number F, no profanity. I don't curse. I don't think you should. And I've had students say, Missionary, why don't you like cussing? Guys, do you know how many words are in the English language? Why you got to use those words? And I wrote down, if you think a word is questionable, do not say it. I am going to deal with it. All right. If I hear you cussing in class, I'm going to deal with it. So if you think it's questionable, don't say it. All right. Number 2, let's move along. Be responsible. Have all materials with you every day. So that's something to write with, something to write on, etc. Have your laptop ready when I ask you to, and also put it away when I ask you to. So if we're taking notes, I don't want you having your laptop open. Okay, I don't want you back there playing cool math games or Tetris or whatever it is. You need to close your laptop and put it away when we're taking notes. I want you to focus on me. Okay. All right. Have work completed the day it is due when you walk into class. Late assignments will have 20 points taken off the first day it's late, and then it's a 0 the next day. So the 24-hour period, all right, so basically begins when I put it into PowerSchool. Okay, you should be able to go into PowerSchool. In fact, if you don't have the PowerSchool app, get it. But you should be checking PowerSchool. If you see me put a 0 into PowerSchool the day that it goes in, that means you have 24 hours to get that made up. Okay, that's it. That's how we're going to do it now. Okay, in this new world that we're living in. And then after that, that's it. It's done. Don't say, no, that's it. Move on. Okay. And the reason I do that, so first day late, 20 points, second day 0. The reason I do that is because I want you focused on the next assignment. If you're constantly trying to play catch up, you are never going to get caught up. So if you're focused on the next assignment, I just think that works a lot better. Okay. So be checking PowerSchool. If you didn't get that, you should be checking PowerSchool, because that's how you'll know if you got something that you're missing. Okay. But again, if you're paying attention to lesson plans, you should kind of know if you're missing anything. All right, when doing group work, contribute meaningfully. Now is usually when I ask the class, how many students do you think make a good group? And I ask you, I'm like, all right, how many do you think? In fact, maybe right now you've got some guesses. Is it 2? Is it 4? No. It's 3. 3 is the best number for a group, because then everyone's engaged. Typically, if you have a group of 2, there's usually too much work for just 2 people to do. Group of 4, the reason that's bad. 2 people do all the work, 2 people do all the talking. It's typically what happens. So 3 is a good number for group work. So when you're in a group, you better be focused. You better be paying attention. If you're in a group and you don't understand something, you can ask me, but why not ask your group members and say, hey, why are you doing da 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 da? And try and have them explain it. If you still don't understand it as a group, then you call me over. D, don't cheat on anything from now till the end of time. So that obviously includes tests and quizzes. I scramble all the questions anyway in a test, so good luck. But quizzes will spread out around the room to try and eliminate cheating. I do have a class of 30 this semester, so we'll have to be creative. But typically we spread everybody out. But this also includes improper use of OneNote. I can see when you're copying and pasting in OneNote. I can see it. All right, it's called revision history. Don't do it. Practice proper lab protocol. Now, we are going to have more on this in my chemistry class. We'll actually watch a video probably as time allows that talks about appropriate chemical safety. But physics students, I'm looking at you. Meter sticks are for measuring. They are not a sword, as I like to joke. Okay, they're not a sword. They're for measuring. Don't bounce them off the ground. Don't spin them in the air. They're for measuring. And that applies to any lab materials that we're going to have. Use it for its intended purpose. It says act with the safety of yourself and others in mind. So be aware of what's going on around you, all right? And we'll also address safety instructions at the start of every lab and talk about what safety you need to be aware of. And yeah, if you are interested in chemistry safety, we'll talk more about that later, chemistry students. Okay, F. And notice it's bold and in all caps. It says, be in your seat, ready to work when the bell rings, not after, and especially not 5 minutes after. So what I'm talking about, and I have bell work for a reason. What I'm talking about is you guys have probably been in the class before where you have homeboy or homegirl and they walk in as the bell's ringing. And then it takes them, a minute to go find their seat because they got to go talk to somebody. And then they meander over to their seat. And then everybody else is trying to get to work. But no, not them. They got to get their laptop up. Oh, anybody got a charger? Hey, you got a charger? I forgot my charger. And then 2 minutes have passed. And then they get their laptop. And then they got to log in. And then they got to go find it. See, by the time they're done screwing around, 5 minutes have passed. And I'm ready to go over it. I'm ready to go over the bell work and keep moving. So yeah, don't have that happen, okay? Don't have that happen. Be ready to go. Be ready to go, all right? Always try to leave the room in better shape than when you found it. So pick up trash. I mean, if you see it around, just pick it up. Just throw it away. Help keep the room in better shape than when you found it. Now, if you see like a Band-Aid, don't touch that. Call me. I'll get it. Put class materials back where they belong, so scissors, colored pencils, etc. And then also in the back of the room, which you should not be in the back of the room unless I give you permission to be back there. But those sinks back there in the lab stations, those are not trash cans. They're sinks. So don't put trash in them, okay? Classroom procedures. Here we go. So before the bell rings, notice it says before the bell. Have your bell work out and ready to go. If we have bell work up on the board, have it ready. Get to work, all right? B, have your cell phone and headphones put away. And again, notice, we're still talking about before the bell. So if you hear that late bell, send your final text, check your final Snapchat or Instagram or whatever it is you kids are doing. But you need to have that put up. You got your headphones, get them back in their case or close them, put them in your backpack. Get that stuff put up before the bell rings. Okay, so cell phone, not on your desk, not under your notebook, because I've seen how students like to do that. Not in your crotch, okay? I know what you do. Put it all the way away, all right? If you need to plug in your laptop, do it, okay? Do it. Get it done. If I notice that students are not following these procedures, if you guys are not doing what you're supposed to before that bell rings, we'll have a pop quiz. And what I mean is, if I'm ready to start class, I close that door and I'm looking around the room and 2 people are on their phones, 2 people don't have their laptops out, 3 people are talking, not getting work done. I'm going to say, all right, let's have a pop quiz for the whole class. So you don't want to be the reason we want to have a pop quiz. Bathroom. Okay, I know that things are a little different right now. In a non-COVID era, bathrooms used to be unlocked during class changes. I know, it was a different time. So I used to say that, but you can't really use the bathroom during class change now. So don't ask me to use the bathroom for class. I used to say that. I understand things are a little different, okay? So here's what I want to say about bathroom, okay? You can't use them during class change. That means you have to use them during class, okay? So what I ask is that you're doing what you're supposed to, Okay. So if you have already got your bell work done and you're like, hey, I finished my bell work really quick. Can I go to the restroom? That's fine. Okay. Ask me. If we're doing group work and you've been doing what you're supposed to, ask me. If you've been doing a worksheet and you've pretty much finished it, that'd be a good time. Not a good time is if I'm in the middle of taking notes. And this happened a lot last semester with one student in particular. I'm not going to say his name. But I'd be in the middle of taking notes. I'm not even at a lull. There's not even a pause. I'm in the middle of taking notes. He'd get up out of his seat and go fill out a pass and be like, but I'm in the middle of teaching. Go sit down. Okay? You'll be okay. You'll make it. All right? So just ask me. When you go to the restroom, here are the procedures. In fact, I made a sign somewhere up above me. I can't remember where I put it. But the procedure is you leave your phone in the room. You are not going to bring your phone with you when you go to the bathroom. In fact, I'm going to ask you. So if you say, Mr. Narron, can I use the bathroom? And I'm filling out the pass and everything. When I'm signing, I'm going to say, where's your phone? And you better say, oh, it's in my backpack. Oh, it's on my desk. Oh, I let such and such hold it. That's fine. Okay. That's the expectation. You'll sign out. I have little passes that you can see. They're in a bucket over there by the door. You'll fill that out. I'll sign it. And you'll go your merry way and you'll come right back. Okay. And here's the thing. Several teachers are considering having a limited number of bathroom passes just because it's gotten to be such a problem. I do not want that to happen. Okay. I don't want to have to do that. But the thing is, I had another student last semester where he was using the bathroom every day in my class, 5 days a week, and he'd be gone for 8 minutes. I guess it was a number 2. That we want to avoid that because you've got to think if you miss let's say you're out for 10 minutes, 5 times a week. That's an hour. That's almost an hour of class that you've missed, and that's not fair. So hey, you better hurry up because obviously I keep track of how long you're gone. But you better hurry back and don't abuse it. All right. Don't abuse it. Go for emergencies. I get it when nature calls. Homework and late policy. I've already talked about it. But again, first day is 20 points off. So therefore the highest grade you could make is an 80. And that starts from when the grade is put into Power School. That's when the clock starts ticking on that 24-hour period. But after that, the second day late, it's going to be a 0. Move on. Food. Mr. Narron, can we have food? So I use the phrase, you're innocent until proven guilty. So if all of you, and I do mean all of you in the class, can eat food in class and have it not be a distraction and not make a big mess and not spill your drinks, then you're good. All right. But if it starts to become a problem, I'll ban it for the entire class. For the entire class. So some examples. I had a girl that had a can of Coca-Cola. And I told her, I said, you shouldn't be having cans in here. And she kept putting it on the floor for some reason. It was in a different classroom where I had slanted desks. That was why. And so she put it on the floor and I said, hey, you better make sure nobody knocks that can over. And sure enough, somebody knocked the can over. And I said, all right, that's your warning. If it happens again, that's it. And she brought a Coke the next day, spilled it again. And I had to ban food for the whole class. If that doesn't sound fair to you, sorry, that's the rule. Tardy, here we go. Tardy policy. If you get 4 tardies in one semester, you get an after-school detention. I'll put it in as a minor referral in Educator's Handbook. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. That means you must be a good kid. If you do not attend your after-school detention, it becomes automatic ISS. So what you can think of is this. You get 3 tardies. You get 3 warnings. So if you're running late, first period students, okay, that you get 3 warnings. Maybe you were finishing up something in the gym or you didn't dress out fast enough, coming from that class. Okay, you get 3. You better figure it out. All right. Because your 4th one, you get an after school detention. And then if you get extreme tardiness, it starts to become just straight ISS. All right. I'm not going to deal with it. First period students in particular, you should know this. I close my door when that bell rings. Students that have had me before, I don't know if there are any in this class right now, students have had me before in first period, no, that's when I start counting tardies. I close that door, okay? And you can ask them. So yeah, if you hear that warning bell, you better get moving if you're not in my class, all right? Do it. And you might say, well, Mr. Narron, that's ridiculous. If I'm only like 30 seconds late. See, the thing is, if I give you 30 seconds, what are you going to be asking for next? 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Oh, no, I won't. Yes, you will. I've been teaching long enough. I know. So, hey, when I close that door, you're tardy. All right. Know that. Absences. Here we go. This is important stuff. So now would be a good time to wake back up. Okay, we're finishing up. We're finishing up. Here we go. Absences. As mentioned earlier, if you miss class, you are expected to check OneNote to see what you are missing. Okay, especially any notes we took that day. So again, sleep in, maybe you let your headache go away or whatever it is. But as soon as you're ready, get up, start moving, check OneNote. Look on the lesson plan tab in the Narron folder. In there, you can see, all right, what are we doing today? Oh, okay, here's the notes. Let me scroll down. Sure enough, there will be the notes, and you can copy them down and get them. Okay. If you see an assignment posted that day, I do want you to try it. So if it's like a worksheet that I've given you in your folder, I want you to try it. If you have difficulty, go look at your notes. That's why you copied them down. Go look at your notes. And if you still don't understand it, then you can send me an email, okay? Worst case, you talk to me about it when you get back. Now, here's the difference. If you come to me, after you've been out a couple days and say, Mr. Narron, I got all the notes, but I just don't understand, blah, 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 blah. Can I come in tomorrow morning and get that? That's perfect. That's what I want you to do. You tried it. You got the notes. You read the lesson plan. That's perfect. Again, what I'm trying to avoid, because we're in 2022, okay, we have this technology. We need to use it. What I'm trying to avoid is students coming in saying, oh, hey, I was out for 3 days. What did I miss? That's not cool. Don't do that. All right. Here we go. Part C. It says, you, the student, are responsible for any missing work. Okay. If you get a 0 for something, you can't just say, oh, I wasn't here that day. Yeah, but you can check lesson plans. You saw what you were missing. The only exception to this are labs. Okay. Physics students in particular, we have a couple of labs where I'm going to want you to make them up that are called practicums. So if it's a practicum, we'll make it up. But labs, chemistry and physics students, usually I'm going to be like, yeah, you missed it. It was really fun. It's a shame you missed it. That's kind of how we'll do it. All right. Countywide attendance policy. So this is kind of up in the air. We know it used to be more than 5, and then they changed it to 7, and then they said, we don't know. So the attendance policy, we'll deal with that. As far as FFs, if you don't even know what an FF is, ask your friends. But here's the important thing, guys. I had quite a few students fail last semester in the fall when we were in person again. And the main reason that students failed is because of absences. That's the reason they failed. They'd miss 2 weeks at a time because they'd be like, oh, well, absences don't really matter. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're not in class, you're not learning the stuff. Okay. So if there's one thing that I could tell all of you right now that I hope you're hearing me, you better be here. Okay. The students that do well in my class show up every day, complete the work on time, and ask questions if they need it. Okay. That's the type of student I want you to be. The student that I don't want you to be is the type of student that misses days at a time, doesn't do any of the late work or doesn't make anything up, okay, doesn't copy notes, and then shows up and just acts like everything's normal. Yeah, you just missed a week of material. You're still going to have to take the test on it. You're still going to have it on your final exam. So please hear me. Even though we don't have an attendance policy right now in terms of FFs, you're still going to fail if you don't show up. Smart period. Okay, smart period. If you have a club or something that you think you need to attend, you are still expected to check in with me first. Okay, you're still expected to check in with me first. Do not just skip smart period. Okay, typically the way it'll go, because I'll be out in the hallway, is it'll be smart period, and you'll be like, "Hey, Mr. Narron, can I go to JCL?" And I'll be like, "You missing anything?" And I'll look. Yeah, you're good. Go on. But what I've had in the past is students will know that they're missing something, and then go to a club all of a sudden. Yeah, you're not going to do that. That's skipping class. All right. So all I'm asking, never did I say you can't go to a club. What I'm saying is during smart period, come by my room first on the way there and say, hey, am I missing anything? Can I go to this club? Usually I'm going to say, yeah, you're good. Go on. I'll see you later. And that's it. Okay. If you skip smart period without asking, it's skipping class. Lab area. Yeah, you need to learn about safety protocol. Chemistry students, there's an attached safety contract you're going to get here in a moment. You need to have that done, okay? Physics students, we don't have a lot of stuff that's unsafe. We'll deal with that once we get to it. Students are not to be in the lab area unless instructed to be there. Guys, there's a lot of glassware in the back of the room. There's a lot of stuff in those cabinets in the back of the room. You should not be messing with that unless I've told you to do so. Okay, I know this is overwhelming, but these are things that you'll get the hang of. These are things I'm going to teach you over the first couple of weeks. I have it here in writing so that you know my expectation. I set my expectations very, very high. Okay, I know how my classroom needs to run because we got a lot of material to cover in chemistry and physics. We got a lot of material to cover, so that's why I emphasize all this stuff. Okay. If you have questions, you can contact me. And again, the best way to get in touch with me, I'll scroll back up for just a second, is right there, my email. Okay, in fact, oh, come on. In fact, if you want to write that email down somewhere in your notebook, it might not be a bad idea. jacob.narron@bcsemail.org. I get emails on my phone, and usually I'll respond. Usually I'll respond. If it's like 10 o'clock, I'm probably asleep. But usually I respond, especially if it's important. Okay. So yeah, there you have it. Let's see if I missed anything. If you complete something late, don't forget to email me because OneNote doesn't. And then we get to this. So at this point, the teacher that's covering my classroom or the substitute, thank you so much for being here. I wish I was there, believe me. If you look on my lab, the teacher lab station, that's over there by my desk, I have a silver paper organizer. Chemistry stuff is in the bottom shelf, physics stuff's in the middle shelf. Everybody needs to get one of these pieces of paper. I already printed it out. And so everybody needs to get one of these. So as you can see, I've already signed it. I want you, the student, to sign it. Okay. And there's a couple of check boxes there. You ought to be able to check both of these. You should know how to check PowerSchool. You should know or be connected to OneNote. If you're having OneNote issues, you can talk to Mr. Drawn in the Media Center, and he will help get you straightened out until I get back. Or you can also go across the hall to Miss Fair. Make sure she's not teaching. Don't interrupt her. But Miss Fair can also probably help you with OneNote until I get back. Then we have some information here for your parent to fill out. Please have them do that. And this down here you can see as well. Physics students, don't worry about the Flynn safety contract. You're a little different. But chemistry students, you have a second form that is attached. In fact, I've got it right here. I want you to kind of, read through this. That's the expectations. And then, there is a little agreement section right here where it says, I, your name here, have blah, 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 blah. I've read this. I understand it. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. You'll sign it and date it. You'll have your parents sign and date it. Okay. But all this stuff is in the packet that the person in the room is going to hand out to you right now. Okay. So we went over a lot of stuff. We went over classroom rules. We went over classroom procedures. You can see there are some posters that I've just recently made that are up above the smart board up there. That's the stuff that's really important. So I hope you're hearing me on it. I will be back in school as soon as possible. And we'll deal with this stuff. But this parent contract, it needs to be filled out, signed by you and your parent, and returned as soon as possible. As soon as possible. That's when you need to have it done. Okay. I don't want to give you a due date yet because I don't know what the rest of the week is going to look like in terms of snow. As you can see, I'm recording this Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. I don't know if we're going to have school tomorrow or not. So I may not even need this. We'll see. Okay, fill out the safety contract, chemistry students. Physics students, there are a handful of you in the classroom. We're going to move on in a second. Hold on, everybody, hold on. Physics students, there are several of you that are in the academic class rather than honors, and you might be saying, wait a minute, why is this called physics honors? I'm in regular. There's only 5 of you in regular. You will have another piece of paper that's attached to your information sheet. I recommend that you read that. Email me if you have questions. I promise you that form is in your best interest. Okay, so it's an honors contract so that you get the honors credit. I recommend you get that filled out and brought back as well. I'll deal with that when I come back in the room. Okay, wrap that up. Done with that. So now what are we going to do, Mr. Darren, the rest of the day? Well, what you're going to work on is called the math diagnostic. This is the chemistry version. There's also a physics edition that says physics edition. And basically the point of this that I want you guys to work on from now, maybe till the end of class, we'll see. I don't know if you're on a delay schedule or not. This is what you're going to work on from now to the end of class. And basically what it is what do you know? So we have one for physics and for chemistry. And this stuff is what I expect you to know. I want you to know scientific notation. I want you to know how to do some algebra, okay? You need to know order of operations, okay? AKA, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or however you remembered it. So what I want you to do, this is individual, mind you. This is an individual assignment. But as you're working on this, do the best you can. There are calculators in the back of the room if you need calculators. But do the best you can. I'm trying to see how much do you understand? And then we will probably go over it. We'll go through it together tomorrow or the next day we're in school, whenever that's going to be. But yeah, do it. And keep in the back of your mind, this is my expectation. If you don't know it, you're going to need to figure it out really quick. And I'll help you a little bit, but you're going to need to learn it because you need it for this class. Okay? So math diagnostic, you need to work on that. Mr. Narron, what if I finish that early? What am I going to do? If you finish early, I gave you guys this rules and procedures example. That's something else that we're going to do as well. So I'd say go ahead and work on that. It's pretty funny. Some of them are really funny. So let's go through it one more time. We went over rules and procedures. We talked about that. I got you all into OneNote, and if you're still having issues, talk to Miss Fair across the hall or Mr. Drawn down in the media center. We've talked about what you're doing today. You're going to finish the math diagnostic first. Here it is. Okay, physics. If you want to see what yours looks like, let's see if it works. There it is. This is the physics edition. That's what you guys are going to work on. And then after that, if you have time, I haven't figured out a due date for this yet, but that's when you're working on the rules and procedures worksheet. So that's the goal for today. If you have questions, I'm going to end by putting my email up here one more time. Okay, there it is right there, jacob.narron@bcsemail.org. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to meeting you all soon. I apologize, this video is kind of long. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you're proud to be a Jet.